Quick greetings. Just felt like making a video. I was going over my last video, and honestly, I just feel like that was one of those times when the ancestors were speaking through me. Because things were coming together that I had not previously put together. And in the past, I have said that that's something that seems to happen when doing a video. You know, you kind of hear yourself a little differently. So the major, to try to capsulate the things that came up for me, one major thing is here I've been, saying it over and over again that the Algonquin language is the oldest language at least in the Eastern Woodland area, but not putting the puzzle together to say that means they're an older people. You know, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about your ability to connect dots, use your common sense, and draw conclusions from that. In a colonized situation, you're going to be basically led to doubt yourself. There's an idea that you can't really do real research unless it's like you have to travel. Now I'm not saying that traveling is not a very good way to gather information, but I'm saying we shouldn't discount using what we have available at our fingertips. And that's just real talk. And it takes real talking people to understand that. But this journey, I want to say that it is fascinating to me. Because I think I'm having a full circle type of moment where I think maybe just a little, before the last few videos, I think I have to admit, I kind of thought it was about a sort of separation of Indians, but in light of the last few videos, I'm glad to say that what I think the ancestors are showing me is that separation is, if anything, it may be a temporary thing. It may be a thing where you do it in as much as it is necessary to do your research and to build your argument. But once you can get some Indians to meet you there, it can be unifying. And what's shocking to me is that where I'm headed now, the unifying thing is the Algonquin language. That's what's blowing my mind. And again, when you're a colonized people, you're not encouraged to make those kind of connections. So that leads us to the answer to the question, what happened to the Algonquins? Where are they? They're in all the woodland areas, what's known as the eastern woodland areas. And that might be the unifying factor. Now, I think the next thing would be to get Indians who agree that they want to establish their Indian not tax standing to come together. If you're an Eastern Woodland Indian and you're ready to take that stand, again, it's in the Constitution. It shouldn't be this big fearful thing. In other words, this is our constitutional. It's our constitutional privilege. I mean, we will have to fight. I mean, let's use a different word because it's not really a fight when you have a footing. We will have to go the distance of reclaiming our lands. Okay, so after you have become Indians who are actually not taxed anymore, the question is, okay, where's my land? Because I'm really a sovereign. And the other thing that comes up for me is how the Commerce Clause really is in opposition to Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, the Indian Not Taxed Clause. If you really look at what's happening in that Constitution, it starts off one way, and as you go down, beginning with Section 8, which is the Commerce Clause, it gets progressively worse, leading to, finally, the 14th Amendment citizen, where a whole new citizen was created under the federal government. The federal government was not supposed to go about making people citizens. They were already citizens in their respective states. So, again, you have a constitution that the further down you go, and then you focus on those latter parts, like the 14th Amendment, right? Like that's the big thing. No, it's not. The first thing that we were Indians not taxed. By the time we get the 14th Amendment, we're Indians who are being taxed. But before that, they're still making a big issue, in court. The other thing I want to say that is becoming abundantly clear is it is the Commerce Clause that's pulling Indians into courts. It's the Commerce Clause that's giving the federal system the jurisdiction to pull you into their courts under commerce. That's why all courts now are considered admiralty courts with the yellow fringed flag. The whole entire system was taken over by commerce. That's how they were able to pull the tribes. That first court case in 1823, that was the Cherokee Nation. I believe it was. Let me look, because I do have the article that we were reading, but I'm not going to read it now. Okay, so it was 1823 was Johnson versus McIntosh. That was about an Indian's right to grant title, as a landowner. And so the first major case of the trilogy of land misappropriating cases of the Supreme Court The very first case is taking away the Indians' right to give title. But they're federal Indians. You would think that that means that they have a right to do what they want with their land. No. So right there, you have your big master stepping in to say, no, your title, they can't honor that. So they're owning your land. Being a federal, so the point is, being a federal recognized Indian or an incorporated Indian, it pulls you directly into commerce. So now the government looks at you like they're regulating you through commerce, telling you whether you can give title to someone when you should be able to. Indians who are not federal or incorporated are Indians not taxed. If you insist on being a citizen, you're being called into a commercial jurisdiction, and the government is using the Commerce Clause to pull you into that jurisdiction. So the answer to the question, how does the government pull federal Indians who are not yet citizens? In 1823, that first case that we just mentioned, Johnson versus McIntosh, Indians were not state citizens and Indians were not federal citizens. How did they get hauled into a federal court? Through the Commerce Clause. And let me tell you, that Commerce Clause is overriding your Indian not taxed standing on the land. It's time for Indians to start sending their Indian not taxed notices. Do you have the heart to do it? I've done it, y'all. And what my video should now be is a countdown to show you it's nothing going to happen to me, y'all. They're not going to treat me like a Moor because I'm not claiming to be a Moor. You claim to be a Moor, a 501c3, let me tell you, you're in commerce. That's how the government pulls jurisdiction over you, through the Commerce Clause. Not only are we going to do away with the Commerce Clause because it's in direct conflict with being an Indian not taxed. That's how this was designed. We're going to void the contract. Indians not taxed are going to say, we don't even want to do business with you. How could we? You know how many generations have been affected by this fraud? So we're going to close. It's going to be a short video. I am just amped because I just feel like when you want something for real, the ancestors give it to you. But you can't want it and be under federal colonizer domination. You are not a state citizen and you were not a federal citizen. What were you? Well, when we made this agreement, we started out as Indians not taxed. So in the, probably maybe even the next video, if not this week, well, definitely the week of Christmas, we're going to look at how we create our own ID. Because I think I found the company that I would like to design my Indian not taxed ID with. My issue was, and we're going to try to keep it in 15 minutes, I want to write, some things on my ID, and I need a bigger, I need something bigger than your average ID card. And so I found something that I think will work magnificently. Now it is 5" by 5x3, I think, but it's about the size of your cell phone, maybe a large cell phone. And I think this is the kind of ID Indians will have to use, a big one, because you want to write down, you want to include Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. You want to include something about the papal bull, and if possible, you want to include some of your public declaration or at least like a link to it if you can post it on your video or something like that. So that's what we will be doing in hopefully we're over 15 minutes. Hopefully we'll be looking at that. Okay, and I want some Algonquin brothers who are ready to talk business about reestablishing Algonquins on the land. We were originally patrilineal. That's why I'm hoping that brothers will. We don't have to be in the same city, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Females as well. It's just that be of the mind to take your Algonquin standing. These are the only Indians that are not talked about. And I realize that's where the conversation needs to at least begin. All the other Indians are spoken for. The 5 civilized tribes, they're known. Iroquois Confederacy are well known. Lenni Lenape are pretty well known. What's not known is the several hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, of Algonquins that are not civilized. Thank you for watching. Till next time, be highly favored.